Hello everybody, welcome to the Reach Out podcast. We're in today with Jonathan Leece, who's part of the Reach team, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we do as Reach. You'll probably see us everywhere at the minute, all over social media and, out and about everywhere, but you might not know exactly what we do. So today's about us and about our team. Just before we get started, obviously Reach isn't a crisis team, so we need to make that point. If you are in crisis, please do call the crisis team on 642-860. You can call them 24 hours a day. Hopefully they will respond straight away. So, let's crack on. Jonathan Leece, a.k.a. Jogger.
Hello.
Let's start by asking a little bit about you. Where are you from?
Royal Ramsey.
Yeah, you're known down there, aren't you?
I don't know.
What's your background?
So, bit of a strange thing. Obviously, I've known you since you were a kid through your father. You used to play football with your dad, and he's a legend in Ramsey. And seen you and your brothers growing up, battering each other day in, day out at the games. And the reason why we both got back in touch, really, because we've always said hello, had a pint when you're in the same pub, but was your kind of post with Facebook, and I wanted to offer you some help with some of the stuff that you probably weren't versed with. So, my day-to-day job is dealing with companies and trusts, and knowing that you were setting up a charity, I just thought I'd stand in the background and hopefully I could help you that way, but it didn't quite turn out that way because you've got me doing lots of different things. But it's actually been one of the most rewarding things to be putting something genuinely back for no payment, for no other reason than doing the right thing. And I've spent most of my career climbing up the greasy pole, been very conscious of furthering my career, but actually this has been the most rewarding, and actually coming across people I would never have come across, and understanding something I've always wanted to understand in terms of mental health issues, because I think there's always been a stigma attached to mental health, and having been seen family members go through it myself, when you're on the outside and you haven't had mental health issues, it's really hard to understand, and you just think, snap out of it, just get up, will you? What's wrong with you? Just lighten up. Depression isn't like that. Depression isn't, I've had a bad day. Depression isn't, I've had a bad week. Depression could be forever. So, bringing it back to the whole question of what you asked at the start, what was the question?
Tell me a little bit about you.
Well, that was about me in terms of how we've ended up kind of in the same room and on the podcast. But I grew up in Ramsey from 7, before that in Laxey. Always interested in sport and around sport. And my dad's he used to play football and run as well. So kind of that sport kind of teaches you a lot of life lessons to carry on. And sport's been throughout my life really, and thoroughly enjoyed it. But I've worked all of my career in finance. There's not much option in the Isle of Man other than finance, is there?
Trade or finance, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah. I've done all my professional qualifications to clamber up that greasy pole, and but that's helped me acquire the skills that hopefully can help the charity go forward.
Yeah. The first time we actually met and spoke about it, we were in the Court Cafe, weren't we? You bought me lunch.
I can't remember.
Yeah, Court Cafe it was. And I knew straight away.
Oh, after I offered you a hand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We spoke about, and obviously you said, I can maybe help you. And I didn't really know what you meant by that. And then, thank God, like we actually had that conversation, because I thought I was starting a charity and got everything sort of in place, but then didn't realise how hard it was actually going to be to start a charity.
Opening a bank account is an absolute nightmare.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Even down to that.
Yeah.
And I think you came at the perfect time where we were going out there, but we weren't out there.
Yeah.
And we needed a hand to get out there, which is where you and some of the other team came in and really pushed us to the next level, I think, and continue to.
And, Erica Bellhouse, she got involved probably a bit before me or a bit after.
Yeah, a bit before you was.
And she's doing it for her own reasons. And, we've got totally different skill sets. And now we've expanded the team. We've got Debbie Gordon and Danny Kane and Lindsay Christian, as I knew her. Is she married now, Lindsay?
I think it's Lindsay Linford.
Yeah. And even ran the periphery, helping with kind of governmenty stuff was Tanya August Hansen and David Cretney. So, there's been a lot of people had a hand in this, and even, the oodles of people who seem to be keen to raise money for us, because I think there's a misconception that we're this big singing and dancing charity, when actually it's a collection of individuals who are wanting to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And effectively back you up. I think most of the people are happy to be in the background for you to do what you can do.
Yeah, and that is the great thing, because when you set out to start something like this, you think, what I was like. I wanted it done yesterday.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
No, I found that out very fast.
You were wanting to run before we could even walk.
Yeah, I wanted to create this big, massive idea and help the world, but it was never ever going to happen, and I found that out quite quickly. And I think the great thing about what we've done so far over this past, I think we're a year old soon,
Yeah, it's 2nd of April. Yeah.
So over the past year, we've sort of let it organically grow.
Yeah.
And it's becoming like a household name over here, which is unbelievable. Like, it's a massively proud moment for me, especially, and probably for you as well. To see it spoken about in a way that it is shows that we've done a good job so far. Yeah,
I think you've got to be careful not to sell yourself out for the dollar.
I don't know what that means. I'm not a finance jogger.
No. You've got to be true to yourself, using a bit of a hippie term, and you can't be all things to all men. And you're right, we have grown organically and perhaps slower than you wanted, but we're getting there. And with the addition of new members, we can hopefully take it to the next level. But it's what we call in management terms an emerging strategy, which is where you make it up on the hoof.
I like that. I'm going to use that.
It's an emerging strategy is the words you've got to use.
Right, okay, I'm going to use that one definitely. But it is though, and you're right. I just think it's great that we haven't actually done any fundraising ourselves so far.
No,
we haven't pushed out and done that. People have sort of given us the tools to be able to go out and put reach out there and help people straight away, without us having to go and fundraise first to be able to fund us going out and doing it. So, we can't thank the public enough, literally, for what they've given us so far to be able to go out and do this.
Yeah.
It's been incredible, because it could have taken us months to be able to, fund being able to get out all the time and do this kind of thing.
Yep. Can I go off on a complete tangent?
Please do.
I was in the pub last night watching Liverpool, and there was beer mats in there with mental health, men's mental health talk about it or something like that. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Is that the guy from Quids Inn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Andy Saunders. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
and I know, like, everyone knows excessive alcohol and depression don't go to, or any mental health issues go together. But you know, if it takes 2 pints for someone to talk about stuff like that, that's got to be a good thing.
Yeah.
But it is a difficult marriage, isn't it? Alcohol and
yeah, it is. But you also have to understand that, you know, a lot of people don't play sports and stuff on the Isle of Man. So a lot of people go to watch the football, or they'll go to see their friends at the pub. And excessive alcohol is bad for your mental health. That goes without saying. But there's nothing wrong in going to a pub and seeing your friends. It's a great place to meet, and it's a great place to speak.
I think it's probably better to go to a pub where no one knows you, and just talk to a randomer, because they won't judge you. And well, even if they do judge you, you won't see them again.
Yeah,
just have a good yawn. And
is this you talking?
This is me giving advice.
Is this you on a night out?
Well, on a night out, I do speak to randomers.
Kate doesn't listen to this.
No, I just speak to randomers because everyone's got a great story. Everyone's got one good story, haven't they?
Yeah.
Where they've been, where they're going, what they're doing.
But not everyone's like you, though. You're very like that. You always have been. You've been the. Let's talk about your football days. You were the. How do you put it?
Gregarious.
Well, if that's a big word, Jogger. Come on. If you think of in Premier League terms, Roy Keane, he'd be the one that'd get under everyone's skin. He'd put.
Yeah, but he was a good player.
He was. Yeah, he was. Sorry, that was a bad example. No, he's
I'd be the Joey Barton.
Yeah. That's it. That's the one, Joey Barton. I've never thought of that. Yeah, you would be. You'd be the one that would wind everyone up.
Cigars.
You'd wind everyone up, and you'd push them into the limit. So you're even when you're out though, you're a joker. Like you're like that. So, but not everyone's like that.
Yeah, I actually I love asking questions, because when you ask questions, you find out lots of interesting things, and also it's because I don't know my own mind most of the time. You know, I don't know if you speak about coronavirus because that's relevant at the moment, or whatever it may be. Everyone's got a different opinion of it. I like to hear extremes of arguments, and I also like to counter your argument. So whatever your argument may be, if it's one end of the spectrum to the other, I love just countering that, just to enjoy the finding what the truth, if there is even a truth, is. But I've gone off on a complete tangent here. I can see you glazing over.
No, absolutely not. You've just proved my point. You just argue. You're just an argumentative person on a football pitch or not.
Yeah. Well,
it's probably
contrarian.
Right. I'm gonna stop this podcast in a minute if you keep going with them big words.
Yeah.
I wasn't that educated.
You're an educated fool with money on your mind.
I like that. Yeah. So. This is, as you can see, this is Jogger, as they call him. You probably won't see him out and about with me, because he does all the stuff in the background with the rest of the team. But yeah, he's a massive part, and obviously, please do go and chat to him if you want to know more about it. If you see him about, I'm sure you will do. Yeah,
there's been. Do you know, just people knowing that I'm involved has opened a load of conversations that I would never have had. And you know, if all we're doing is raising conversations, starting conversations, that's got to be a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very conscious that we could be accused of being in a fashionable area. Oh, you're just a fashionable charity. Everyone's into mental health at the moment. But actually, we starting conversations, talking about it is one of the most important things. That's the first step, isn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a massive road you can go down here, where you sadly have been dealing with people that kind of lost lost and fallen between the cracks of our health service. So we
deal with, so that's why I say at the start of these podcasts, we're not a crisis team, because we do deal with that a lot.
And that's what you didn't set out to do. This,
No,
did
not
you? You
no.
didn't set out to
be a crisis
to
team.
be a crisis team.
No, I'm not qualified.
Yeah.
I'm not qualified enough to be dealing with a crisis like that.
Yeah.
That you need a professional if you are at crisis point.
Yeah.
You should deal with a professional, and that goes without saying.
Mm.
We do a complete different job, but I understand that the public, and when somebody is in crisis, and if
They
they
wanna
can't,
help them.
if they can't get the help from where they need to get the help from, then they're going to reach out to us, and I can help them as much as possible. I can point them in the right direction or in a different direction if they haven't already been down that route. But as far as dealing with actual crisis, yeah, that's a really tough thing to do.
Yeah.
And I commend the people that do deal with it. But hopefully we can, we're looking at getting more training. I know I'm definitely looking at a lot more training so that maybe I can help a little bit more in that.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Really.
we're working on putting corporate packages together for people to effectively bag something up for them to say, what can I buy?
Yeah.
Here's, if you want to buy 10 people to go through for mental health first aiders, we can do that. We're just trying to come up with something like that, aren't we?
Yeah. I think it's good that we've given it the time, we've let it grow, and now we can go to corporate places and businesses and say, look, this is us, this is what we're doing, this is what we've done. We need help financially, because every charity does. Every charity will need financial help. We just haven't gone down that route yet, because the public have been so unbelievably, great with us, that we haven't sort of had to look down that route. I'm going to ask you a question.
Do it.
Are you ready for this?
Let me brace myself.
You've been in finance a long time.
Sorry, I'm looking out the window because we're up in Manx Radio here, and it's a gorgeous view. Sun's gone down, and there's twinkling lights there. It makes me think Douglas isn't so bad after all.
Ooh. It's be the last time you're in here. Where does our money go? Where does Reach's money go at the minute?
So, believe it or not, we haven't got much of a balance on our bank account.
Not after that tax bill.
No.
Yeah, that hurts.
We effectively pay Adam a very modest wage to be able to do what he does on a week-to-week basis, and actually it's probably like chucking a question back at you. What do you do on a week-to-week basis? I know, but there's kind of a lot of different things and different avenues. So dealing with, when I say kids, they're probably young adults at grammar, Ramsey Grammar, and lots of other stuff, whether that's social media posts, because some people just like to text you, don't they, or message you on Facebook or whatever. Yes, a proportion of it goes towards your salary, but nobody else is paid. No one's paid expenses. So Erica keeps us on the straight and narrow as a qualified accountant, and we're both signatories on the bank account. But we're not funded that much. We've got big hopes, haven't we? We'd love to rule the world. And we've got some lovely plans and great big plans. I call them BHAGs, big hairy ass goals. That we're going to work through with your man Les from NK, who's been really fantastic with us. Mm-hmm. He lets us have his meeting room every meeting that we have, and
he's got all the signs up around the sites and stuff as well,
and
on the back of the hive is.
Because one of the things I'm learning through my day job, I kind of took it upon myself to be the social media guy for my day job, and I've also got a sideline, also doing social media on that. So I'm learning as I go here. Then Reach came along. So all of the skills I've learned through those other businesses, Reach benefits from. So, I was round at Peel at the breakwater, walked past an NK construction site, and there you go. sign on the site saying "Reach are the man," that's absolutely great coverage, and it's also fantastic in what is a male-oriented business, and that alpha male. Don't talk about mental health.
Yeah.
It's particularly important in those kind of industries where I'd imagine if you came out and go, do you know what, I'm feeling a bit fragile, or I'm going to see the doctor about, I've been feeling down for a long period, whatever it may be, that's a great way as a business, isn't it, to show your support for the health of your staff, especially in the likes of building. But you've gone around a lot of these companies, haven't you? And talked about what you've done, how you've, I was going to say come out the other side, but I'm not quite sure you ever come out the other side. You just come out different, don't you?
Yeah.
Richer.
You're definitely
richer for experiences. Certainly not richer for money. When I'm trying to ramp up Reach's LinkedIn thing, for the corporate side.
Yeah.
You do the Facebook on a day-to-day, and you post a lot of stuff on there. And even, was it last week you were up at the college, UCM?
Yeah, Friday, yeah.
I've had 20 conversations since then about that. People speaking to me about that, because I didn't know a lot of people knew that I was involved with Reach, because I'm behind you, I'm happy to be there. That sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it, to be behind you?
No, carry on.
I should grow up. I'm 40 in July. Come on. That social media thing is a big part of it now.
Yeah.
And what demographic are we talking to after all? We're talking to kids from 20 to 40, under 40-year-olds, generally speaking, maybe under 45.
Mm-hmm.
Who are in that higher risk bracket of suicide. They're the people who are at the highest risk, and male. What is it? 75. The stat: 75% of suicides are males, compared to 25% female. So we're in a strange part of our evolution as humans, aren't we, where our biggest danger isn't taking drugs or opioids or is it opioids or opoids? Opioids.
Yeah.
Crashing in your car, drink driving home, none of that. It's about taking our own life because we're not.
Actually, mental health illnesses equate to almost half of all illness within people under the age of 65.
Really?
Yeah. And you think of all of the illnesses that you've got, you killer illnesses.
Mm.
That's incredible. That stat blows my mind every time. Every time I bring that up on the laptop or I'm in a business and I'm, on PowerPoint, that blows my mind. That stat.
What worries me even more, I'm going down a rabbit hole here. I can feel it, but
I'll chase you down. Don't worry.
Is pharmaceuticals, large pharma. I don't necessarily think they ever want to cure anything. They're in it for the profit.
You've jumped down a big rabbit. I can't catch you now. I'm gonna have to get the dogs out. If that's a big one.
Did you watch The Pharmacist, like I told you, on Netflix?
No.
So that shows you how they're bothered about profit over actually caring.
You can see it. You can massively see it. That's why I think so many people are against CBD oil, that kind of thing, because it has so many natural benefits.
Mm.
But obviously, if you go down that route, that means you might come off your antidepressants to go on it, or you might come off something else, for back pain to go on it, which means the big pharma are gonna, see a decline. So I 100% agree with that. But that's a conversation that we're definitely not having right now, because that will go on forever.
No. We might be sponsored by one of the big companies tomorrow, and we might be swallowing our words.
If that happens, this will not be going out.
That's true.
I'll give you a little insight on what I do weekly. So obviously, this is my full-time job now, which is incredible. To be able to even do this as a full-time job is incredible, and
where you came from, in terms of your mental health.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah, yeah. I never see myself doing anything like this at that point. But yeah, day to day.
What did you see yourself doing?
I didn't really see anything, to be honest.
you were in a black hole.
Yeah. I didn't see myself getting back into sport, playing football. Didn't see myself actually being able to have a relationship with Grayson properly, because at that point I was
Scared.
Yeah, I couldn't be around him, because I was thinking, if I have a panic attack in front of an 8-year-old, what? I was teaching him how to dial 999, and it was a horrible thing to have to do, and a great thing obviously, because he knows how to do it. But to be doing that with your 8-year-old son, it's not ideal.
No.
So I just couldn't really spend much time with him. So I couldn't really see much out of the end of it. I thought my time at B&B was over, just because I didn't know what this was about and how this came about, and I just blamed it on my job for a while, because I didn't know what else it could be. But it was probably a culmination of a lot of things, whether it be in and around relationships, my mum not being well, really negative environment obviously to be in.
Sorry, can you hear my throat?
Yeah.
I've just drunk some water. Apologise. It was getting deep there,
and being around it, quite a negative home, and the job, I didn't really know what I was doing in my job. I was in and out of different roles, and the atmosphere had changed a little bit. And yeah, I just think there was a lot going on at that time, and I think sometimes it's a bit like your computer. Sometimes they overheat and they need to switch off.
It's a good analogy.
They need rebooting, and they need stripping down. Sometimes you need. That's how I see it, because I know I had to strip my life back to get back to where I am, or to get to where I am now. I stripped my whole life back to a point of the way I was eating, what I was drinking, how I was sleeping, how I was spending my time, that kind of thing. I completely changed everything. So I'm a very different person to who I was, I think. I don't know, it's hard to, if you know me, then you'll probably understand.
Can I ask and it'll come across really judgmental.
Yeah.
Were you quite immature then? Because you've certainly grown up from what I saw in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I was, I think, yeah. I used to, mess about a lot in work, maybe, and I don't think there was ever a point where I sort of, listen, I think I had to grow up when I was quite young, when I had Grayson.
Yeah,
I had him at 18, so I missed out on a lot of going on lads' holidays, that kind of thing, so I maybe made up for it.
Later in life.
Yeah, maybe.
When he was grown up, yeah.
Exactly, and maybe I was a bit immature, and I don't know, in my relationships and things like that with females, maybe I was immature. Maybe I wasn't a very nice guy to be around. I treated people in the wrong way, probably. I think this has taught me a lot of lessons, to be fair. And I think now, coming out to where I am now, I know how to treat people properly now. I know how people should be treated. I value respect now. Do you know what I mean? It really stripped everything back. But it also makes you very aware of what's negative in your life and what you don't need there, really.
Do you know, it's not just negative. I think there's so much noise in life, whether that's social media or just the crap. Do you know, I did a course a few years ago, and it was about what kind of role you fulfill. Do you actually produce anything? Someone in finance, as an example. Do you produce anything? All I do is repackage information. So they termed me an information handler. Do you know how depressing that is?
I can imagine.
All I do is manage information.
Yeah.
I don't produce anything. I don't produce a wooden structure, or I don't build a house at the end of what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad would probably arguably say I just shuffle papers all day and have meetings.
That's what you do.
The amount of information that a standard 30-year-old gets in a day. He wakes up, he has a look at his phone. Has he got any texts, any WhatsApps? He looks at Facebook, a bit of Insta. He hasn't even got out of bed.
Yeah.
And he's getting a fix on social media.
So he's not even woken up into real life yet.
No.
He's still in a bit like a dream world.
Then there'll be news features, which at the moment is coronavirus. God, there's someone else died. Another country's been infected. Ireland has shut down their schools tomorrow. You haven't even had your breakfast yet.
Yeah.
You haven't even had a pee. The first thing you should do, get up and have a pee.
Yeah.
Then, and I'm picking on me because I know what I do. Then it's breakfast, more information, reading a newspaper, reading the phone, news in the background. Then at work all day, you've got information coming out of your ears. You've got this meeting, you've got to prepare for that meeting, whatever it may be. It's all information, and a bit like using your computer analogy, is it information overload and you just go, shut down, reboot.
It's like your ads. When you get an ad, or you get too many ads on your laptop, it starts to freeze, doesn't it?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
That's it. You're getting all this information that you probably don't need.
Yeah.
And I think, little shout out to Mike Hewley, Mindful Man. I think that's where he really helps people, because he sort of makes you realise what is key and how to ground yourself, how to not listen to all that noise.
I haven't listened to him yet, but I've heard so many people speak in high regard of him, and I need to set some time aside, because, again, another thing I've learned from this whole process, being involved in the charity, is bloody love a podcast now. And again, like the M Word, Martin Hall, and
I've just done one with him.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, just completed it.
I love what he's doing.
Unbelievable.
Do you know, I spoke to him, I said, why are you doing it? He says, because I love it.
Yeah, and you can see that when you do the podcast with him, he really does love it.
Yeah. And I don't know why he set out to do it, whether it was a sports slant or a psychology slant or a mental health, but he seems to have ticked all three of those boxes.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he set out to do that stuff, because, again, I'll share a bit of his stuff on our LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, I share a lot of it. I think they're brilliant at what they're doing over there. They've got a great setup as well.
Yeah.
He's do you know what, one thing he said to me at the end of, we only did this a couple of days before this one, by the way, and one of the things he said to me is, at the end, I love doing this because I learned so much
about other people.
Yeah. But you think he does.
I want to do what he does, but I wouldn't do it as well, because you want to know all about them, what they do, why they do it.
It's like having the conversation in the pub, though, isn't it? It's like having that conversation and really getting to know someone, but not just saying, how are you today? Oh yeah, I'm fine. How was football? Yeah, great. And that's the end of the conversation. No, you get a really good connection with someone that's doing a podcast, because you're telling them about your whole life, like you're bearing all.
Yeah.
And he gets to see all of that.
And having been in here, there's absolutely no one here. It's 10 to 7 on a what night is it? Thursday,
yeah.
Thursday night. There's no one in here. It just feels like we're down the pub having a chat.
Yeah, you were nervous at the start.
I was. That's why I'm sweating.
I could see you panting. I've never seen you nervous. Might get you nervous more often.
Yeah, it's worrying.
But yeah, sorry, let's go back. Let's go way back. We got off on a bit of a tangent there. So yeah, my day today, I do this full time, so I set aside a Wednesday so that I'm in Ramsey Grammar School. Love that, literally love that.
And they've been great in terms of embracing it. I think a lot of schools have just ignored it. Is it called pastoral care?
Yeah.
Because I know my sister's a teacher over in Liverpool, and I didn't realise, and obviously Liverpool's a slightly different demographic, but she's from a faith school, so it's a bit better than a normal Liverpool school, I mean. But like, even things like kids turning up without food, she'd have food in her top truck. She'd noticed that little Johnny, whoever he is starving, or his teachers, because she's a form tutor, so it's like little Johnny isn't concentrating in double English because he's freaking starving. Do you know what I mean? And she leaves food in the top drawer for him, and just doesn't make a big thing of it. Listen, if you want food, it's always there.
Yeah.
That's out of her pocket. This isn't out of school's pocket.
Yeah.
And we're setting, my old man says this funny thing. He says, you need a licence for a dog boy. You don't need a licence to have kids, do you? Hey? So, there's at least a hurdle that you have to get through. You have to fill out a form for a dog licence for a start. You don't fill out a form to have children, do you? And, you're setting children up to fail.
Yeah.
If you can't do the basics right.
Yeah.
Feed them.
100%.
Get them to bed at a decent time. Get them out in the fresh air. All of that good stuff that I know you talk about. But anyway, sorry, I took you off on a complete tangent there. This is what
a podcast is for. Like, we can have an open conversation, so it can go off that way. But I want to make a little shout out to Josie Corrin up there. She runs like the the SS&S side of it, so student services side of it.
SS&S.
Student services and... God, I should know that. Anyway, SS&S, pastoral care, that side of it. And they do that as well at Ramsey Grammar.
Oh, do they?
So they'll make the children toast if they have not had breakfast, that kind of thing, which is unbelievable. Like, it's so nice to see.
I live in my little middle class bubble, right, and I don't see any of this. And
it's incredible.
And I get my eyes opened by, I know people who are in the police, people in the care profession, people who are teachers, and they tell me about this, and I go, no, don't believe it. Don't believe it.
Yeah.
But I've got to believe it because they're friends and family and whatever. It must go on if they say it goes on.
Trust me, it happens. Like that. I see the amount of care that they give the kids at Ramsey Grammar, and it is. I can't wait for Grayson to go there. I really can't.
Is he going to be a Ramsey boy?
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
Hey boy.
Yeah, but I can't wait for him to go there just because of it. I think they are way ahead of everybody else over here school-wise. They have so much care for the kids. You know, they have all different charities going in there. So they'll have us, they'll have Motivate. So for Motivate, do like...
Is that alcohol and addiction?
Alcohol, addiction, gaming and gambling.
Which is a big one at the minute, isn't
big,
it?
yes, and huge for kids as well. But... yeah, so they've, you know, Josie got in touch with us and said, will you come in and do an assembly? I said, yeah, of course. So, I went in and we had a really good connection with Josie. And she said, you know, how do you feel about maybe doing this with the kids? And I was like, yeah, I could come in on a Wednesday and sit down with them and talk.
What, just talk in an open forum?
Just a one-on-one. Just do it on a one-on-one basis. So the door's always open.
Yeah.
Josie lets me use her office, actually. I kick her out. She goes wandering around. I don't know what she's doing, actually.
I hope she doesn't listen to this.
So do
I don't know Josie. I know her husband, Graham.
Yeah, well, great guy as well.
Good footballer in his day. Not as good as his old man, but...
His old man or my old man?
Yeah, his old man. Sharpest elbows in the world. Johnny Curran.
Did he?
Neck. Yeah. Took a few digs in...
Where you got your elbows from?
Kids v teachers. Even in his bloody 70s, he was all over. He was a ledge. Anyway,
I'll have to ask him about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she said, you know, how do you feel about doing this? And I thought it was a great opportunity to get to younger people earlier to see if we can help.
So what age demographic was she talking about?
Obviously from year 7
straight
up to when
12,
they leave.
Is it?
Yeah,
or 13.
13, I think it is. Yeah, 13. And it's just been unbelievable. Like the amount of satisfaction you get from seeing them, you know, a little bit happy and when they leave the room.
Yeah.
They come in and, you know, they can be quite upset, and not all of them are struggling with mental health problems. Some of them just want a little bit of advice every now and again. And
you're not a teacher.
And I'm not a teacher, and I know how to, you know.
Well, you're young enough to interact with them.
Exactly. I've got a 10-year-old son, so I know how to interact with younger people. I coach their football as well, so I'm around that anyway.
How old are you now?
I'm 28.
Your hairline says something different.
Shut up. You haven't got any hair.
I'm accepting of it.
Anyway, yeah. So it's really great to be in and around there, and I get so much from it, and we're getting more and more kids coming in, which is great. Now they're seeing me on the corridors, and I have great relationships up there with the teachers. They've been so.
I suppose it's a free resource for them as well.
Yeah,
if you think about it,
yeah.
You know, they've got lessons to plan.
Yeah.
They've got, you know, clubs to do, even though they're not paid for clubs.
They have hundreds of students to deal with.
It's emotionally draining, and I know, again, when I speak to my sister, she's emotionally drained at the period end. I give her all this stick about, you know, being on holiday all the frigging time, finishing at 4 o'clock or whatever. But she does something more meaningful than me, and it's emotional. It is emotionally draining. She cares, and I think 99% of teachers care about all of the kids in their care. Yeah, you know.
I know.
I wonder what he's doing. Is he going home to not being fed or whatever it may be? They do care.
Yeah,
you don't get in that profession for money. That's for sure.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But maybe the quid pro quo is here. At least you get some decent holidays.
Yeah, and obviously Annette Baker's up at Ramsey. She's the head now, and she taught me German in school. So I have a great relationship with her, and You know, I found out a little bit about, obviously, this whole striking thing that's going on. I didn't really understand it, that teachers are looking to strike because of pay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wow, when you actually look at it, they are not getting what they deserve at all. Like, by the way, they're doing these lunch times and stuff like that free of charge. Out of their own time. They're not getting paid for that.
And that's why they went to working to rules. So they work to their contract, and the contract says you must work blah to blah.
Yeah.
But because they care about the kids, they want them to succeed in their GCSEs. They give them extra lessons. They sit through their lunch, or they're in
100%.
at 8 a.m. to say, listen, kids, I'm going to be here. If you need help to get to where you need to get to, I'm here.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened when I was at school, and I think, God, I'm getting on my pedestal now talking about education, but when, we don't have it in the Isle of Man, but in the UK, this kind of testing of standards across the board, and then it's emerged into a bias towards maths, English and maths. So these are these league tables. Why? There's got to be other measures. It shouldn't. There's people out there, and you'll have had them in your year. I had them in my year at school. They're not academics, and I had to have this.
I'm one of them.
Right. Okay. So they're not academics. You can't judge them by an English or a maths result, and they shouldn't be. They should be as rounded humans, individuals who leave at 16 or 17 or 18 or whatever it is nowadays, to be good humans and be happy humans. Be part of society, and enjoy themselves, because we only get one shot at this, I think. I'm not quite sure. That's a different conversation.
I just wanted to, commend what they do at Ramsey, and especially the teachers. And, I respect everything they do up there, because they work so hard. They sit and have their lunch with the kids. The kids that don't want to.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, with the kids that don't want to be in the big hall, that get maybe are really anxious. They'll take them aside, and they will sit in their own rooms with them, so they don't get a lunch hour. They don't get a break. So many of them do that, and it's like, wow, you really do go out of your way. And
but I've seen it firsthand. They effectively parent those kids whilst they're there.
Yeah.
And
I never looked at it
like
that.
Sometimes they do it to the detriment of their own children.
Yeah. Yeah,
ironic, isn't it? They've got their own children, and they're spending more time with kids at school because they've got more problems.
Well, yeah, I see it every Wednesday. I love it because I had a teacher in school, because I wasn't academic. I had a teacher in school because I was a bit naughty and a bit of an idiot, a bit of a class clown, because I couldn't concentrate. I didn't want to do it.
I was that guy. I'd have sold my granny down the river for a laugh.
I had a teacher called Donna Kearney and Bernard de Beer at Ballacameen, and I seen what they did for me, and I just didn't really appreciate it, I don't think. And now I see it from a different view when I'm sitting back, and I see how much help they really put in. I'm like, wow. And you get some parents that ring up the school saying, you haven't done this for my child, and you haven't done that for my child, and you think, give these people a break. You don't realise what they are actually doing for your child.
I hear that all the time. I hear you did this, I hear you did that. Yeah. Give them a break. Yeah. One of the older that I get, the more I realise, seek to understand first. See what don't assume your child is right all the time for a start. There's always three sides to a story. Your side, my side, and the truth.
You've said that to me before. I like that.
Yeah. So, seek to understand. Listen, your little Johnny ain't as sweetness and light all of the time that you think he is at home. He isn't. He just simply isn't. So, surely you should be working as a team with the teachers to say,
hope so.
How do I help you? How do you help me?
Yeah.
And together we'll work it out. Whereas, it's the teacher's fault. Did little Johnny go to bed on time last night?
Yeah.
No, he was playing on his PlayStation.
Yeah.
Till 10 o'clock, and now he's tired today, and the teacher's got to deal with it. Yes, you've got him out the door with his teeth clean and, bit of spit polish of his face, like your mother used to do. Yeah. Pull a hanky out of her sleeve and here you go, boy, get that in you. Oh, thanks, Mum. She used to do it even though there was nothing on me.
My nan used to do it. Yeah, honestly.
Just lick me like a mother dog. It was, shouldn't we all be in this together?
I really wish that parents could see it, and I don't think teachers get talked about. That's why I'm using this platform to commend them, because I see how much crap they get, and I see what they're going to the government about, and Annette Baker is trying to, they're not asking for a lot. This is the thing, they're not asking for a lot. They're asking for what they deserve.
They've had under inflation
10
pay
years.
rises for 10 years. Yeah,
That's incredible. That is a lot. And bearing in mind, they are, like I say, they're doing their lunchtimes for free. They could go off campus at lunchtime. They should have an hour to go and have lunch wherever they like, because they're not getting paid for that.
What about their mental health?
Exactly.
Getting away from the grind, getting away from the kids, getting away from your day to day.
Actually, on that, Josie and her team, I think there were maybe 20 of them, they funded to get themselves mental health first trained themselves.
Out of their own pocket?
Out of their own pocket.
I've heard of that stuff before. See, they're investing in themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're doing it as a school. Like, surely the government could maybe,
Yeah.
I just think that blew me away when she said that it was out of their own pocket, because I didn't realise. I was like, wow.
Was it in their own time?
Yeah, Saturdays.
Oh my God.
I know. So hats off to you, Ramsey, if you do ever listen. We're going to do a podcast, by the way, in the next couple of weeks with a couple of sixth form students, Ramsey and Josie, so that we can just get their view on how it is growing up as a teenager and what the struggles is like in school and pressures, that kind of thing, of being a younger adult.
Be interesting to talk about the social media thing.
100%, I can't wait.
You're 10 years younger than me, aren't you?
Yeah, but I was in the middle. So I've seen both sides.
Right. So you've had no social media and social media.
Yeah.
I've had obviously more no social media than social media. So I think we as older ones have got a bit more balance to it than the younger ones, because this kind of insta life, making my life look absolutely perfect. What did you said to me once?
Yeah,
the show reel.
The what?
Facebook and whatever social media is like a show reel. No one shows the bad bits, do they?
No, of course not. Like, why would you?
So this show reel, if you're in the doldrums and you're seeing everyone's show reel, and you're thinking everyone else is having a bloody great time here.
Yeah.
And I'm, my life is shite.
Do you know what? The thing is about that, though, is you don't even have to be thinking like that. Like you say,
no, that's true. It's like conditioning, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like over a period of time you go, oh my God, their life is fantastic. Oh my God, you don't
have to think they're better than you at the time, but if this is continuous,
yeah,
and if you're, like you say, you're waking up in the morning and before you've even gone for a wee and you've left your bed, you've seen all of this stuff, whether you're taking it in or not, all the negative that's there, that is going to have an effect on you subconsciously. It's going to be in there somewhere. It's going in through your eyes. It's going in there somewhere.
Yeah, of course it is.
So it's going somewhere. So whether, it takes a day, a month, a year, 10 years, 100 years, it's going to be somewhere, and it's going to come out somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think this is having a massive effect on people, and they don't realise, because they're thinking to themselves, it's not affecting me now. Look, I can see it, and it happens, but what you don't realise, it is going in. Whether you take it as it being negative or not, it is going in.
That's my throat again. Sorry.
You need to stop that. You sound like Kermit. So anyway, back to the story. My day today. So Ramsey Grammar being one of them.
Sorry, I keep pulling you
No,
off
it's fine.
topic
Absolutely
here.
fine. So me and Danny Kane, who is now part of the Reach team.
Yeah.
Well, he's been pretty much part of it anyway. He's just not officially been part of our proper team. Me and him have been working really closely since we started Reach, really. He's obviously really clued up with physical health. He's doing a lot of exams, that kind of thing. He's learning a lot, which is great. He invests all his time into it as well, and especially mental health. He invests a lot of time into how it can help someone's mental health as well.
He gives his time freely as well, doesn't he?
Unbelievable. Like I've sent a couple of people his way.
And his boss or the owner of the gym?
Yeah, Dave. Yeah, Dave's been through his own struggles
supportive.
as well. Yeah, he's brilliant. Like all of them, all the staff down there, Joe and Kate, they're all brilliant. And I've sent people down there free of charge, and they've helped them, so that I know it works. And me and Danny go into we started at Ramsey Grammar and we did a PGE lesson. We start again next week, so we do a 6-week block where we'll go in, and it's a bit like the Happy Harold class. I don't know if you
yeah the caravan.
Yeah, so they just teach you about
sex
life,
education.
Yeah, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Yeah, but we'll talk about mental health and physical health.
I'd love to be the new Harold.
You probably could be.
Yeah, I could be.
You'd get away with it.
Big nose snuffleupagus or something like that. Like my sister used to call me, snuffleupagus.
That's not very nice.
You know the guy with the... Was it the hairy mammoth on
I don't know what you're talking about. You've lost me.
Sesame Street. You must remember Sesame Street.
God,
the one with the big eyelashes, because I've got big eyelashes and a big nose. Snuffleupagus.
I never noticed. You got nice eyelashes.
But you had noticed my nose.
Yeah.
It was poking you in the eye. So I thought this was supposed to be serious, or isn't it?
No,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. That's what a podcast is.
Okay. I'm new to this.
Yeah, so chill out. You'll be fine. You'll get on with it. So we'll go in and we'll do a PGE lesson, and we'll teach kids the correlation between mental and physical health. So Danny will do he's very what's the word? What is the word?
What, using his hands all
eccentric.
The time? Oh, I thought you meant using his hands all the time.
No, he's very eccentric. Like, he's brilliant. He's brilliant with the kids. He's brilliant. Gets them all involved. You know, he dances around. He goes gangster every now and again when he wants to. Like, it's hilarious to watch. And
sounds like David Brent.
He is a bit like that. When you see him in the classroom, he's a bit like that. He's hilarious, but he gets the point across, which is brilliant, and he gets it across in a way that they will understand.
I love him and his mum.
Oh,
his mum's superb.
She's brilliant. Like, even her support has been brilliant
with her cakes.
Yeah, and she was doing champagne for us and stuff at our first event that you didn't turn up to. So we do this PGE lesson. So we do a 6-week block, and we did year 10s, and we had great feedback from it. And they've asked us to come and do year 11s now, starting next week. And hopefully, we're going to write up a proper PGE lesson for every school, so that and we're going to go to Annette Baker and Josie and see if they'll back us to go and do it in other schools as well, which would be incredible, because
you can't start too early.
No, you can't. And most of the things are the same. Like, for good mental health and physical health, you need good sleep. You need good diet. Good diet's not just to make you big and strong. Good diet's to help your brain as well. What you're drinking,
so not your protein, because
well,
a lot of these fad diets send you send you down a crazy path.
Yeah. And
protein only or whatever it may be.
Some of them really affect your mental health, though. Like, really affect it, and that's what Danny's great at with the kids. He'll say to them, "Look, tell me what's bad for you." So they'll all write down chocolate, cookies, that kind of thing, and they say, "Tell me what's good for you," and they'll write down bananas, all vegetables, that kind of thing. And then he'll say, "Well, there's not actually bad food. There's not a bad diet.
It's just too much of a single
It's just too much
thing.
Of that one thing,
or too much of a lot of things."
What he's saying is, you balance your diet out. You can have that as long as you're balancing out throughout the day with some good food as well.
Yeah,
and that comes across to a child so well, because they understand that you can't say to a kid, "Don't eat chocolate," because they love chocolate, and you can't say, "Don't eat sweets," because it's bad for your mental health and physical health, because they love it.
Yeah. But in small doses, it's good.
Exactly.
But it's like we were talking to Sarah Hendy before this about starting exercise and exercise is good for your mental health. Of course it is, but if you take that to an extreme, it can go the other way. That obsessive addictive kind of thing, which I've got a bit in me, can take you right the other way.
Yeah.
Exercise is good, of course it is, in moderation. But you go crazy on that, you'll push your mental health the other way.
Exactly. And you see that with some of the podcasts you listen to, like Christian Volley on the M Word, or Pete.
He was great
Pete on R1. Yeah.
Give like Christian Volley a listen, because he gives an absolutely unstinting view of struggling throughout his life, that he still struggles with.
Yeah.
And I think I posted it on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, it's all over our stuff. But yeah, he was just incredibly honest, and it was it's so relatable to people.
Oh, it's scary.
Yeah.
It is scary. And I don't think I'd be as brave to kind of come out with warts and all kind of thing like he did. Hence why I messaged him straight after I heard it and thought, "Hey boy," because
Yeah,
I
hats
did.
off.
I used to do triathlons before I was injured all the time, and he took it up and he was bloody brilliant, like he always is. Turns his hand to whatever, and I. A few months before, I realised he was going to do a half Ironman out in Marbella. So was I. I thought it was going to be glamorous in May. Marbella. Yeah. Oh yeah, nice. And it takes off in a really nice place and whatever else. But on the day, it was so windy that
He said this.
10 or 12 foot swells.
Yeah, he said this. He,
right?
He really struggled in the water, didn't he?
So his weakest part is the swim,
Yeah.
right? And he's anxious anyway. He's an anxious guy. So even I've heard him talk about like race days before big races, whether it's Commonwealths or was it Island Games, I can't remember. He's up at 2 doing his kit before a race when he should be sleeping.
Yeah.
Getting all the good stuff in him before his big race, and like he's anxious at the start, and like beforehand he's like trying to iron out all of his kind of, I suppose like all of these things you've got to try and immerse yourself to reduce the risk of you panicking when you get to the big thing. So if you check the course, you check the chuck course, try the run course, the cycle, the swim. The swim is wholly reliant on the weather at the time, and it was bloody windy. And something I don't think he said in his podcast was he did say he had a panic attack like 5 minutes in, but a girl died that day. She
really?
She went under. I think she had a heart attack, but was
No way.
was that induced by anxiety? They managed to pull her out, but unfortunately she
Wow, I didn't know
she
that.
didn't live. So, I saw firsthand what he's like. He's obsessive,
Yeah.
But again, what are professional sports people? Obsessive, aren't they?
I was exactly what I was going to say.
And
They have to be, don't they?
my mate Richard Seal, he talks about he doesn't say a thin personality, but I can't remember the words he used. But he talks about having an identity away from your vocation and your sport, whatever that may be. And Christian falls squarely into that bracket, doesn't he? Where he was Mr. Cycling, and then when he used the word self-sabotage, which actually Paul Jones used that word.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
In fact, in the same thing, in the same kind of thing, they self-sabotaged. And he came back to the island and, I'm not Mr. Cycling anymore, so who am I? There's talented kids all over the Isle of Man who want to make it in whatever they want to make it, whether it's music, football, whatever. They've got to have something outside of that personality and that identity, because you've got to have 3 legs to a seat, haven't you? And I always say that in most things in life, you always need to have 3 legs. So you should have 3 legs in life. Mine's family, work, sport. So when one's crap, you focus on the other 2. When 2's crap, you focus on the other 1.
Yeah.
But bringing this all the way round to what we were talking about a while back about kids at school, is that kids at school, it's been taken out of the hands of teachers to not make good humans anymore. It's to get good exam results, because that's how their school is judged, not on rounded individuals.
Yeah.
Ironically, what you talked about before is can't wait till Grayson gets there, because they're going to look after him. Exams aren't that important. In the grand scheme of things, they're not important. And we have a bit of a lack of vocational study in the Isle of Man, and it's only really the college that caters, the Isle of Man college, that caters to that vocational. And if you say, like you weren't that academic type, we're quite one-dimensional, I suppose, in terms of education in the Isle of Man, and that's why quite a few fall through the cracks. Right, I'm not into academia, I'm not that good, in English and maths I'm going to be a pain in the bum. They just, sorry, my kicking my feet around making a noise. They become disenchanted, and then they just disrupt everyone else that's there, and then they see themselves as worthless because by one measure, they're not good. And that's one measure.
Do you know, I've got a quick story exactly on that. I met a young lad in Ramsey Grammar on this Wednesday just gone. Never met him before. He's been out of school for 6 months. And I just sat and asked him, how come you not been in? He said, it was the same thing over and over, and it just wasn't for me. Like the English, the maths, the science, it just wasn't for me. So he's causing trouble, and he took himself out of that so that he didn't disrupt people. Right. So I just thought I'd dig a little bit deeper into this young lad, and really nice kid, like very well spoken. I was expecting him to be, as they would put, thug.
Yeah.
But he was the complete opposite. Like, he was a great kid. So I sat and I helped him do his CV. And we just chatted about CVs, that kind of thing. I said, what are you interested in then? What are you good at? And he goes, well, I don't know really. I said, right, let's put some key notes down, or for your CV. So we got to education. He goes, well, I haven't really got any.
GCSEs.
Yeah, I haven't really got any.
They're called IGCSEs, aren't they?
Yeah, so I said, right, okay, so what do you do then? And then he went on to what he wanted to do, wanted to go to the army. I said, right, okay, have you ever done anything in the past? Then he started to talk about the cadets. I said, okay, so what have you done in the cadets? He goes, well, I'm first aid trained. I said, we'll get that down.
Yeah.
And then I said, what else? He goes, I'm weapon handling trained. Get that down. Honestly, you should have seen how long the list was that he's actually accomplished.
They do have a lot of skills in the cadets, don't they?
But
even the basics.
But it was the fact of he started. He didn't know anything, and he wasn't good enough to actually. I've got half a page full of things that I've actually completed in life so far, and I'm still in school.
And I bet you he's in less than 5% have got the list that he's got.
100%.
No, 5%.
No. I was taken back by the things that he had actually achieved, because I didn't have half of them skills that he could do. Like mapping skills, navigational skills, got all them badges, that kind of thing.
I've got sat nav in the car.
So you got a phone for.
Yeah.
It was so nice to see the look on his face when we got to the end of this CV and said,
and he realised he had some self-worth.
Yeah. I said, hang on a minute, you said at education that I can't write anything down there. I said, you're very educated, look at what you've learned.
Yeah.
And look at the skills that you've acquired, like, you're very educated.
Yeah, but if you think about it, education can be self-serving.
Yeah.
So everyone in education wants you to be in education because it perpetuates this kind of thing of education. So people in uni want people to get uni degrees because they want jobs at the end of the day. So they do have a little bit of self-interest from that regard. But it's a bit like, I don't know, me working for my day job and saying, there's probably a better company down the road. You should go to them. They offer a better service, or they'd be more suited to you. You just wouldn't do it, would you? And I can see why a teacher would say, I'm going to get you to the best you can be. But you wouldn't go, do you know what? You'd be better served go to the Isle of Man College and doing this, or what are your interests? Because they're there to do their lesson, whether that's music or chemistry or whatever.
They have to hit the hole.
And I know Josie, that's what Josie's trying to do. She's trying to pull all those strings together, isn't she? She's trying to pull all that together so that the whole young adult, should be, looked after as a whole. That probably wasn't done when I was at school. In fact,
it wasn't. I don't think
it wasn't. Well, I say it wasn't, but it was done in an informal way. And I tell you, one of the most seminal teachers that I had in my at grammar was Chris Starkey.
He's a great guy.
He was knowledgeable about anything, like, and everything, whether that be sport or life or whatever. He was, rich in life knowledge, and even I remember him because he was also I think he was combi manager, which is the second team, and then he went on to be the first team manager. So I was always in and around him, if you like, and he was really good at because I know he's had his ups and downs in life. I don't want to talk about them here just in case he wouldn't want them bringing up, but he spoke about those dark moments in his life. And if you think about it, because he was still managing when I was 18, 19, 20, so I'd left school by then. he would talk about, those dark times in his life, and be quite upset about them in a pub with a load of mostly younger lads than him. And what a great kind of teacher, leader that is.
Yeah.
Think about
That's
yourself.
teaching a
This is
life.
how you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not about It's about the whole, isn't it? It's not about the parts.
Yeah.
And he was fantastic. And do you know what? I thought about sending him a letter actually to thank him for everything that he did. But maybe I'll just tell him to listen to this when he's an hour and a half in. How long have we been doing this?
I don't know. We only an hour.
Oh right, okay.
Is it an hour or I don't know actually. I'm not too sure. But anyway, we're gonna start to wrap it up a little bit. We've got dinner to eat.
Sorry,
places to be.
I've taken you off on tangents.
This is the whole point of it. So we wanted to come in today to tell you what we're doing with Reach. So obviously our day to day, I'm in schools. I go and meet people.
Yeah.
On a day to day basis, and we go into businesses, and me and Danny are putting together this business plan so that we can go into businesses and teach businesses and workers. The correlation between having good mental and good physical health. So you'll see more of that.
And you're coming in to see us in a couple of weeks?
Yeah. I'll have to check my diary.
Charterhouse.
Never had a diary in my life, but my God, do I need one right now. It's great. Honestly, I don't know what I'd do without one.
Miss meetings?
Probably. Yeah, probably miss a lot, yeah. I can just about remember when training's on. Literally.
No, can you?
No, that's a
no,
lie.
You can't because you haven't been in about 3
Sorry
months.
about that was a lie. Just trying to make myself sound good. But yeah, you'll see us in the future. Obviously, we're very prevalent at the minute, and please do reach out to us. I know we keep saying reach out, but that's what it's there for. That's why we use the word reach, because it is reaching out to somebody. So yeah, please do give us a shout, and if you need us, then we're definitely there to help. You'll see us more and more, hopefully, in sport coming up, because we're looking to try and fund every football club on the Isle of Man to have a mental health first aid trained person within their ranks.
Yeah. And it's a very appropriate thing. We lost 2 footballers last year.
Something that's very close to me. I knew football.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be a great place to start. That'd be a starting block for us, and hopefully as we progress and get bigger, then we can fund this for all sports, and then who knows in the future. What's that word you've got? BHAGs.
Big hairy ass goals.
Yeah, we're going to keep that. We're going to keep that close to our chest, because it's going to take a little bit of time. But obviously, when we have the plans and stuff that we want, then we'll 100% share it straight away. And
we'll stick it out on social media.
Yeah,
and hopefully, listen, if we don't have BHAGs, we just tick along. And how do you eat an elephant one mouthful at a time? You can't eat it in one go, can you? So we
people eat elephants. Do people eat elephants?
It's an old kind of maxim. Like, how do you eat?
No wonder the coronavirus is going around. Yeah.
No, that's bats and snakes, isn't it? That people were eating.
Who eats a snake? I
don't know. Do you?
No, I don't.
Okay, so so these big hairy ass goals. If we, let's shoot for the stars and see what happens. Would love big corporates to get involved, or even high net worth guys who just want to put back whatever, guys and gals who just want to put back. We'd love to marry up with you. So if that's putting your company through its training, or helping, or just talking about it, or whatever it may be,
or financially backing us,
so that we can reach our big hairy ass goals. Because this might be a bit controversial, and this isn't the side of the Reach charity, but the government are underfunded in mental health. That is plainly obvious to me. It's a lot easier when someone breaks their leg, because you break their leg, you take an X-ray, you stick it back together, then it grows back, and then it's fine. mental health is a lot more difficult than that. How do you measure it? What's happy? What's the definition of success? All these measures that are so hard to measure. Imagine, having the equivalent of hospice, but in mental health, because I think that's where we need to go to change the world.
Yeah, and it can be done. It can definitely be done, but it has to be done as a community. It can't be done by just us. No way. But if we get this,
but if we dare to believe, we've got loads of help with us.
Yeah.
People who help us in every different way. NK will be Les will be helping us out with some drawings, and we've got loads of people offering help.
Yeah.
Haven, B&B helped at the start, didn't they?
Yeah.
They were brilliant.
They're still willing to help with furniture, that kind of thing. So we have. I think if we really take our time with this big hairy ass goal, then we get it right, it can be great. But yeah, if
it'll be a long time getting there, but when we get there, we'll hopefully go to heaven.
But yeah, there's things available. So if you do work in a corporate environment, or you do work in a business that's looking to sponsor anyone or anything, then please do get in touch, because there's loads of different things that we can offer that will help.
We can put packages together
that will help the public at the end of the day.
And actually, even if it's imagined up by them,
100%. Yeah.
Can you help us with this? And
absolutely.
We'll pay it. Absolutely.
Yeah. The good thing about us is I think we're very open-minded to everything.
Yeah.
That can help.
Yeah.
We're not straight and narrow. This is the way we're doing it, and this is it only.
Yeah.
I think we're very open-minded to. Yeah, this might work. Let's have a look at it, and if somebody else has an idea, then let's definitely take a look at it.
And work with others. There's other charities
100%.
out there that are doing different types of the same stuff that what we do. There's no point in competing for resources sometimes.
No, one charity's not going to change the world over here. Jogger, you're gonna have to get out, mate, 'cause I'm really hungry.
Yeah, we'll do part 2 next week.
Yeah, thanks for coming through though. It's been nice, and I hope people take quite a lot from this, and they know where we're at as a charity, and they know a bit more about our backroom staff, and maybe we'll get a couple more of our backroom staff in, and we can get their stories out so that people get to know us as a whole charity, and not just me.
Yeah, because I think this podcast format is pretty good, because you can have a little insight into other people's minds without kind of showing your face, like a cyber stalker.
Yeah.
Just go and have a little sneaky peek. No one will ever know you've had a look, and then go off into the wilderness.
I'm very much like you though. I'm all about podcasts. I don't even watch TV anymore. I just watch podcasts on TV. I love hearing people's stories and their life stories, things like that.
Do you know,
a wealth of knowledge, isn't it, for free?
It is, yeah, and that's what the internet's great for. It's a collection of things, isn't it? A collection of experiences, and it's all out there if you want it. To go and research.
We can help point you in that direction as well.
It's called Google.
Okay, don't tell them that. What are we going to do now? Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening. We've got loads of podcasts coming up. I think the M Word podcast might come out before this.
Okay.
With Martin Hall, which is, listen to it. It's great. Them guys are really, really great down there, and we'll share everything that they do as well, because, I love what they do. And you'll see more about us. And we've got loads coming up as well, with obviously Ramsey Grammar doing a podcast, and there's a couple of others that I really want to get my hands on and get them in here, because I want their knowledge to be portrayed across to the Isle of Man.
Spread.
And spread these around, please, if you can.
So you can contact us on what? Facebook,
Instagram, LinkedIn. Oh, we should go through Twitter, but I'm really not good with social media. But we can get that sorted. Yeah. Twitter. Obviously, our emails are on there as well. Our number.
A website at some point. We hope so. This is
to be continued.
Hudgie's pulling the face here, but we've come a long way in a short period of time. If we get a website away, it just sets up our IT infrastructure, really, because everyone talks or wants to communicate in different ways. So whether that's in person, on the phone, via WhatsApp, whatever.
It is coming though. I've got a guy doing it who's doing it free of charge for us.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, which is unbelievable.
Again, people helping out the goodness of their heart for no profit.
Exactly. So yeah, that's coming as well. But yeah, thanks for listening. Just a quick note, obviously, like we said at the start, we're not a crisis team. We're here to help when you are, you're not sure what's going on in life and you just want to have that conversation, you want to break down that first barrier. We can help signpost you into what may help. And yeah, I'll give you the crisis team number, which is 642-860. They're available 24 hours a day, so please call them if you or anybody you know is in absolute crisis right there and then, because that's their job. So don't hesitate to give them a call.
The medical professionals.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll keep you updated in the future. Thank you.
Cheers.